Hola amigos, my name is Kerrit and I live in Argentina. This is my inaugural YouTube video, so I'm pretty nervous, but I hope that we can all relax together. I've got a nice cup of coffee and I'm going to spend a few minutes just telling you a little bit about myself and why I decided to start this channel. We've lived in Argentina for about 13 years, and it occurred to me that there may be people who are thinking about moving to another country and are kind of scared. And honestly, yes, it's not a small thing to do, but I thought that maybe if people got some little snippets of insight into the life that I've managed to create here with my husband, that you could have a bit more idea of what the possibilities might be. My main inspiration for doing this, apart from my family, was thinking about the YouTube videos that I enjoy watching. And they tend to be about people's lives. So Kate at the Last Homely House is a huge inspiration for me. I like watching those outdoor cooking videos which make making bread sound so easy. And you know what? I may do some cooking videos to show you how I do things. I'm not a chef. I'm not a baker. I just have figured out what works for me. And I think that's the whole point, isn't it? That, you know, we're all walking our own path, and my path is different to yours. But the trick, I think, is to keep putting one foot in front of the other. You may get to a brick wall, or you may get to a parting of ways. You may get to a branch in the road and have to make a decision, but putting one foot in front of the other is kind of basic to making any sort of progress. So I'm not going to preach at you. I'm going to maybe confess to you a few little things, like how much yarn and fabric I have secreted in various locations around the house. I think my husband does know, but turns a blind eye, bless him. I'm going to show you lots about the garden, because this time of year, which is spring here in Argentina, it takes up a lot of my thinking. We're very fortunate. We do have help, because we have a finca as well. We grow mainly olives. Commercially, we grow olives, but also we have all kinds of fruit. And you'll be seeing me, hopefully, if we get a harvest, you'll be seeing me make stuff with the fruit, or maybe just eating it, because that works too. In fact, there have been times when I thought I was going to look like a peach, but they're so delicious. And I'll tell you what, having a peach warm from the sun, straight from the tree. Okay, yeah, we wash them because of the dust. Can't fault it. Can't fault it. So what else was I going to tell you? Other things that take up quite a bit of my time are learning languages and moving to a country where the language is not English, if English is your native language. That's kind of difficult. And yes, I have learnt to speak Spanish. My Spanish isn't fluent. It isn't perfect by any means, but I can manage perfectly well, to the extent that I can have a bit of a joke with people in shops and feel comfortable and feel relaxed, because I know that actually, with very, very few exceptions, they're not judging me for my mistakes. And I'm going to let you into a trade secret here, so just don't tell anybody else this. Even when we speak our native language, we make mistakes, grammatical errors. It's normal. It's normal. But I think when you're learning a language, you have this feeling, oh, I can't say anything. Well, I certainly felt I couldn't say anything until I'd figured out how to conjugate the verb I wanted to use. And oh my gosh, is that the right verb? And which preposition goes with it? Don't freak out if you're learning language. But do you know what I mean? You probably, if you're learning a language, you've probably felt the same way. And do you know what? That's completely normal. I'm also going to let you in on a trade secret. And anybody I mention in this, I'll put links to their website or their YouTube channel in the description box below, so don't worry. I came across somebody who's become a dear friend of mine. We've never met in person, but he's a good friend, Tony Burns, and he started a group called Charlemos, and it's designed for Spanish learners. And we get together, and although there could be up to 20 or more people in each meeting, when you're speaking Spanish, you're only speaking to one other person, and that person is not a native speaker and they're not a teacher. And it is absolutely brilliant for building your confidence. And I have to confess, it's not just built my confidence in learning languages. I've also gone on to study French and Arabic as well. They're nowhere near as good as my Spanish, trust me. It's given me the confidence to do something like this. So, if you're in the market for some assistance with learning your Spanish, check it out. There is also a French Charlemos, which I started a couple of years ago when I decided to go back to learning French. And I'll also put a link to that in the description box below. Back to my life. Well, what do I do apart from learn languages, which clearly takes up time? I read. Actually, at the moment, the majority of my reading is on audiobooks. So at the moment, I'm almost finished listening to a really good book. And if this is the sort of thing that you're interested in, I would highly recommend it. It's called The Forest. It's by Edward Rutherford. And again, I'll put a link in the description box. It's about the new forest. And I know that sounds dry as dust, but actually the way he tells the story using different groups of people at different points in history, absolutely brilliant. I'm loving it, and I've got through it really quickly, which is surprising. One of the main reasons I use audiobooks all the time now is because I can't just sit and read a book. I have to be doing something else as well, and an audiobook is really good for that. So if I'm knitting, crocheting, embroidering, cooking, whatever I'm doing, I will quite often be listening to a story at the same time, which to my mind is pretty darn time efficient. So it doesn't work for everybody, and there are certain types of books that I don't listen to, I would rather read. Certainly something where I'm going to want to refer back to a map or a timeline or something is much easier in a physical book. So I think now I might pause the video and put my boots on because we had a rainstorm last night, so everything is really soggy, and take you around. We'll have a look at the damage. It's not really damage. I did have a quick look earlier, and quite a lot of the roses have lost some petals, but that's just a prompt for me to say, okay, now I really need to go around again with the secateurs. But that's okay. It's a fun job. Okay, we're outside again. As you can see, my roses have been pretty battered, but that's okay. They'll survive. I hope the sound, it's quite breezy today, and I hope the sound of the wind isn't too distracting for you. But, you know, this is about my life. And my life includes the windy days, the rainy days, occasionally a snowy day, but a lot of the days are very sunny. And that's the thing about Argentina. We get over 300 days of sun every year. So this is a white forgotten the name of it. It'll come back to me and I'll put it in. And we've got a pink one of those as well. I'm sure you're all sitting there screaming at me the name. And the tree that we're walking towards at the moment is a bottlebrush bush, or a bottlebrush tree. No idea what its proper botanical name is, but that's what it's called round here. Or certainly that's what my husband calls it, so I'll go with that. And you can see, actually, if I go a bit closer, you'll be able to see, hopefully, the flowers actually do look like the business end of a bottle brush. So that's pretty good. And these flowers here were given to, well, the first little clump was given to me by a friend who calls them Peruvian lilies, and they're almost finished, but they are absolutely gorgeous, and they're a lovely cerise colour. So let's go a bit further and have a look at some more of the garden. I'm trying to think of the things that I wanted to tell you about. I mean, the sort of things that I do, apart from making jam or chutney, and my husband pickles his own olives, which if he's in a good mood, we might be able to get a video of that later next year, when the olives are ripe. The blue plastic you can see in the distance is the covering of the swimming pool. It should be coming off in the next few days because it is getting warmer. Yeah, there's a few branches down, but nothing very big, so that's good. And I'm walking towards, probably you can see in the distance, a red vision. It's absolutely stunning. It's probably looking a bit thinner now than it did yesterday, but the roses there are pretty spectacular. So I have not made sure that everything looks neat and tidy, because that's not who I am. I want to show reality. Yes, I'm going to edit the video, of course I am, because I'm not going to want all the coughs and ums to go through, but it's not going to be airbrushed. It's not going to be sanitized. It's just how things are, how the garden is, how the quincho is not ready for summer. It will be in the next couple of weeks, and you can have an after look at it. But Oh gosh, these poor roses really did take a hammering, but I have to say, when I looked at them yesterday, they were so full of flowers that some of the branches were actually touching the ground, and you can see some of them still are. But yes, they'll be fine, because actually I can see there are quite a lot of buds. And that's the thing, as I deadhead through the season, the roses repeat flower, and it's lovely. So this is a wisteria. We have a few shady areas covered by wisteria, which are absolutely gorgeous. And you can maybe see just the last few little flowers on there. But over here, oh my goodness, I'm so impressed by this. I've talked about it in a reel, I think, but this is jasmine. And I'll tell you, it's a good distance from the front of the house, and the aroma, the perfume, makes it all the way through the house, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. And yes, you can maybe just see that there's a wooden obelisk supporting it. Maybe you can't see it, I don't know. But this was originally planted somewhere shady, which the plant wasn't happy at all. And we moved it here, and it grew too big for the support it had. So I showed Juan Carlos a picture. There we are. You can see it a bit better now. Of a square obelisk. And he collected some bits of wood from around the farm and made that for me. And I have to say, the jasmine has not looked back since. It's absolutely stunning. Wow. The perfume is absolutely overwhelming me at the moment, so I'm going to have to move a little bit. So if any of you have seen any of my reels, this is the trees that you can see here are in the background of where I sit to do my, or where I stand to do my recordings. So this is the same part, but from a different perspective. And yes, we do have a swing set there. And yes, I do play on it occasionally. So it's pretty strong, it can take me. You can see that this property absolutely is brilliant for wisteria. It grows like a weed, quite literally. We've got some pretty old trees here. And the wisteria, we actually have to take it off the trees if it's growing up them, but it just sprouts up. Which is fantastic. Actually, I find the sound of the wind quite soothing. That's why I stopped talking. I thought maybe you'd enjoy it as well. But honestly, the whole idea of this is to give you a few little insights, but also encouragement if moving to another country is something you're thinking of doing. But if it's something you've already done, or it's completely out of your wheelhouse, that's okay. Maybe I can just give you a few minutes of peaceful garden birdsong, and you can look forward to me doing some knitting if that's really what you want to watch. I'm going to sign off now. Take care, and don't forget to hit the subscribe and like buttons below. Thank you for watching.